Knowing media composer has been essential for my career because every single place I've worked at since my very first internship 24 years ago to the present has used Avid Media Composer. I'm Alexander Rubinow, ACE, and I'm nominated for a 2024 Emmy in Outstanding Picture Editing for an Unstructured Reality Program for Deadliest Catch, episode 1922, Nautical Death Trap. The thing about Deadliest Catch that I enjoy the most is telling the stories of these fishermen. And I've been on the show for 14 years now, 15 seasons, and it's so rewarding when I get to meet the fishermen and they tell me, "Thank you so much for telling my story. I hope that what you're conveying to the audience would maybe help somebody," and that makes me feel really good. And that motivates me to keep going because it's nice when you get to hear things like that from the people that you're highlighting on the show, just doing their regular job as a crab fisherman on the Bering Sea. Deadliest Catch is a show that we've been shooting for 20 years now. We went up there in 2004 and started shooting the first season that premiered in 2005. And some of the characters on the show, some of the people we've been documenting, have been on the entire 20 years. And that's why I think the show is so popular, because you're following these people and you're invested in these people. And while we do introduce new boats and new cast members occasionally, we do have the long-running people that you've known maybe almost your whole life. The episode that we submitted for nomination this year, episode 1922, Nautical Death Trap, was the season finale of our 19th season. The reason we submitted it is that it highlights a new direction that we're going with the style of the show. We're trying to play minimalist. We take scenes and maybe we don't put music in. Maybe we just hear the wind and the waves and the danger and what's happening on the boats. And we're trying to kind of pull back and play it dry. Another reason why we submitted it is that there's a character on the show called Wild Bill Wachowski, and in the very last scene of this episode, he gets the diagnosis that he has cancer. And he's a character that's been on the show since I started on the show in 2010 in season 6 of the series. And it just, my heart sank when I was watching the raw footage and heard that diagnosis. And I hope that what I was feeling when I was watching it and I was editing it was conveyed to the audience as well, and that they felt the same thing. It was just really powerful to be able to document that in the episode that we submitted. I found out about my nomination while I was watching the live stream on the website of the Emmys. And they don't announce our category in that live stream, but I kept refreshing the download section on the website where I knew there would be a PDF that would maybe say all the rest of the 120 something categories. When the live stream ended at about 8:45, I think it ran about 15 minutes, the document appeared. And I started typing Deadliest in a find function, and it came up. And there was my name again for the 5th time, and there was the name of our sound mix, our re-recording mixer. And what was really special, one of the people on the rest of the team had no idea that he had even been submitted, because he was our assistant editor, and his name is Chris Myers. And we started giving him things to edit, and he made a significant enough of a contribution to that episode that he earned an additional editor credit. And so the very first time he even knew that he was up for consideration was the moment he was nominated, when I sent him a message saying congratulations. Another tidbit about the episode is that one of the editors on the episode, named Rob Butler, I was his assistant editor in 2006 on a National Geographic series, and it's just really nice to be able to share that with him as well. I think the biggest challenge in making the Emmy-nominated episode was the balance of, should we play music or should we let it be silent? And that was a big back and forth between us and the showrunner and the network, and just trying to find that balance. How long can we play something without music in a show that typically we have music throughout? And I think we found that balance really nicely, but I think that was the most difficult part of making the episode, is trying this new style that we maybe had dabbled in before, but that we're trying to implement more so and carry it on into the 20th year as well. There are a few tools in Media Composer that helped me in crafting an Emmy-nominated episode. One are markers. Those are essential. On Deadliest Catch, in the 19th season, last season, we shot 37,000 hours of footage. When you're looking through thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of footage, it's important to create markers on the footage when you see something that you might want to come back to, that you might want to use again, so you don't lose it. So I'm constantly leaving markers throughout. Another tool that I like to use is show unreferenced clips. And the reason I use that is because we don't like to repeat music throughout the episode, or at least I don't. And sometimes when you're working in an environment with multiple editors, you don't really know what they've done or what you may have done in a previous scene. I'm constantly bringing up the bin of all the cues from our composer Didier Richoux, and I select all of them and I say what's unreferenced, what can I still use, what variations on the cues can I still use, so that every scene in the show has an original sound and every act has an original sound. And that's what I strive for, and that's another tool that I'm able to use that really helps us. Knowing Media Composer has been essential for my career because every single place I've worked at since my very first internship 24 years ago to the present has used Avid Media Composer. I used it at the very first internship, and then I learned it on the job when I was a production assistant on a series called Modern Marvels, a post-production assistant, and I learned it to digitize, and I just kept working and observing the editors I was working with and seeing what they were doing. But it was essential because it's been the only editing tool that I've ever used professionally. No company I've worked for has ever used anything else.